Welcome to the latest session in this series of webinars called Commerce Conversations from Brightpearl and Inventory Planner by Sage, which is all about bringing you honest behind-the-scenes stories from brands and the partners who've shaped their story. My name's Chloe Thomas. I've been in e-commerce for over 20 years and I'm here to get the best insights for you out of our guests. In this session, we're going to be talking to a UK-based e-commerce retailer who specialise in home improvement products called Leader Online. We're talking to them about how they've managed a website replatform and a warehouse migration at the same time with an overhauled tech stack. Also joining us, we have the crucial partners in that tech stack overhaul: Impact Evolve, Visualsoft and b.solutions. So yes, we're about to get deep into what it takes to build a tech stack that will enable you to manage growth and huge changes at the same time, including lessons on tech stack selection, warehouse migration, website platforming, and more. In a moment, we will meet our guests, but first, any questions that come up during the session can be dropped under the Q&A tab on the right-hand side of the screen. And even if we don't manage to cover them now, someone will get back to you with an answer very, very soon. Also, over in the right-hand side of the screen, you will find a tab labeled Docs, where you can access. Okay, lots in this one. You ready for this? Okay, the b.solutions full integration timeline, showcasing the breadth of the integrations and apps that they've built for Leader Online. Impact Evolve's one-page overview on how they're supporting Leader Online's growth journey. And a link to the full Commerce Conversations page where you can replay our past sessions and find out about what's coming up next, plus a link to Leader Online's site so you can easily see what they're up to next. Exciting things coming, and the Brightpearl by Sage product brochure. Told you there were loads of goodies in there for you. And if you want to have a chat with one of the consultants about how Brightpearl by Sage and Inventory Planner by Sage can help you to scale through tech stack improvements, click on the Get My Demo button on the top right. Okay, it's time we got our experts on stage. Please come and join me. These brilliant specialists will be sharing their best e-commerce advice with you for the rest of this session. Well, hello everyone. Awesome to have you here. The first thing we need to do is for the audience to get to know who you all are. So let's start with Beth and work our way around. Please let the audience know who you work for, your role in the company, and a little bit about how you help brands modernize their tech stack. So Beth.
Hello everyone, I'm Beth Tyrrell and I'm one of the supply chain experts at Impact Evolve. We work with both businesses who have their own fulfillment and warehouses and those that use third parties to help them improve their supply chains, transform their supply chains, and to grow sustainably. We do this through looking at people, processes, and systems. And today we're focusing more on the systems, but we work across all three of those. So that's me.
And Tim.
Thank you, Chloe. Hi, everyone. My name is Tim Mawson. I'm a partnerships manager here at Visualsoft. For those of you that are aware, Visualsoft started life as its own e-commerce platform. And as of the past 18 months, we've graduated to become a Shopify Plus agency, which is kind of where today's stories fold us into. We're also taking big strides into becoming the UK's prime for what we class as unified commerce, so in-store and online. Again, we can touch on that a little bit later.
And Anthony?
Hi, Chloe. Hi, everyone. So I'm Anthony, MD of b.solutions. We are a Brightpearl integration partner. We've been working with Brightpearl since 2013. So we are a very close partner, serving 400 plus live customers. And, we've been working with Leader Online since 2021. And we've worked on, very interesting projects, together. And we will share, key aspects of that journey today on this webinar.
Marvellous. And last but by no means least, the representative from the brands themselves, Leader Online. Hello, Gary. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Chloe. Hi, everyone. I am Gary Murray, CTO here at Leader Online. So I've been in the business a long time, coming up on 15 years now. So we've grown significantly in that time, quite a bit. Started off as a local hardware outlet in the northeast of England in Hartlepool. We're digital first e-commerce retailer now, large scale across the whole of the UK, serving customers nationwide.
That's quite the phenomenal journey to go from a hardware store to an online first whole of country retailer. What was the original vision that set you on that journey? If you can remember back that far, Gary.
Yeah, I mean, I joined the business as a little old apprentice when I was quite a young whippersnapper. So I joined the business, and it was quite a small team. A couple of people in the e-commerce team, and we had a couple of websites with Visualsoft on the VS platform, and we've evolved over time. We've had various iterations of websites. We used to sell different types of products. We've branched out, and we've actually streamlined a little bit since we've gone over to Shopify and starting Leader Online. We used to be more well known probably for our door brand, Leader Doors, and our flooring brand, Leader Floors, which has now transpired into Leader Online.
Excellent. So, Gary, you have just been through a massive project, the sort of project that I think would have many an e-commerce person squirming, but actually it's been exactly the right thing for the business, and it's been hugely successful for you, which we will get onto all of that as we go through today's chat. But it's a project that many people would end up changing a lot of suppliers around, but you've actually stuck with your incumbent suppliers. Can you, what led to you kind of, I guess, starting to work with each of them and then also continuing to work with them through this big period of change?
Yeah, I think we started out with Visualsoft in the really early days, kind of with our e-commerce platform only, and we were a very simple setup in terms of our tech stack. We had a really old archaic EPOS system that didn't do kind of what we wanted it to, which led us to look at Brightpearl, and I think that was around 2015 that we implemented Brightpearl, working with the team there, and it's grown ever since. We started working with Anthony and the b.solutions team as well on kind of a multitude of projects. They've got lots of different connectors for us, different integrations, and some stuff that we don't even use anymore that we've moved away from as well, but kind of being a partner as we've grown. And then last but not least, Beth as well at Impact Evolve, kind of just coming in and being a team member with the team has really been key in kind of like helping us achieve our goals last year, and looking forward into the future. There's some big projects coming up that Beth's involved with myself and some of the wider team at Leader. So it's been quite a journey, I would say, and Beth is pretty much a team member now.
It's often the case that one big project just leads to more and more big projects, and maybe we'll have time to get into a little sneaky preview of what you've got next. And Gary, what you did in 2025, and we're kind of glossing over it, not really getting into the detail here, but everyone watching, we will get into detail. We'll get the other as well, I promise. What led you to the decision to change everything at the same time, to Shopify migrate, to build the new warehouse and everything else that you've been up to? What was the decision to let's going to do this, and then the decision to do it all, and then the decision to do it all not that far before peak?
I think it was time constraints more than anything. We'd grown so fast that we kind of were hitting limits in capacity around our operation, our stock holding, things like that. And it kind of, even from an e-commerce perspective, the platform had got us to a level, and it served us so well to a point, and now we kind of needed to scale. Since we've moved to Shopify, like the scalability is just amazing compared to where we were. It's the streamlined turnaround of things as well. We can evaluate what we're doing and adapt it quite quickly and be quite agile, which is a bit of a strength to have when we're such an agile business. Our business owner is very entrepreneurial, and the team here kind of are very agile, so we'll jump into new projects that kind of accelerate our growth quite quickly. And I think the scalability of the platform change and also the warehouse structure is kind of been key. We needed to do that.
So it was very much holding you back what you had. It wasn't matching the entrepreneurial agile culture of the business. You couldn't get stuff done. And then it was also, I'm guessing that there's a point where you can see, if we don't fix this now, we're going to really, really hit some challenges.
Yeah, we were starting to creep. We were starting to get to the point where we were running into daily challenges that kind of, they weren't efficient. There was lots of manual intervention on order processes and kind of even things such as simple as day-to-day stock control. Like we need to kind of be agile and evolve it and automate it. And then Brightpearl and Visualsoft are helping us to do that, as well as b.solutions with some of our integrations and connectors.
Excellent. Well, let's bring in some of them now. Tim, I'm going to come to you first because you are, you've had a long history, or Visualsoft have had a long history of working with Leader Online on the Visualsoft platform, and then you recommended that they then moved on to the Shopify platform, still built by yourselves. Is that a common migration you're seeing people make? Was it an obvious recommendation to them? Talk us through how that worked from your perspective.
Yeah, and the point you make is very valid. I think Gary's touched on it already, how businesses can get to a certain level and then maybe they need certain apps that wouldn't exist on a certain platform, or again, like they just need different processes in place. And again, that's where Leader was at in their journey. They'd reached a point where the Visualsoft platform had taken them so far, but how far can we really take Leader Online? And that's where we're at now. And I think it's really exciting from our side watching what's currently transpiring with Leader after the migration, as well as many of the other clients that we've taken on that journey from Visualsoft to Shopify, as well as, again, other platforms incumbent as well. We're not just limited to doing Visualsoft to Shopify. The whole e-com space, I think, is waking up and talking about what's possible on Shopify compared to more archaic systems out there.
So flexibility and adaptability winning the day. I like it. Anthony, you again have worked with Leader Online for quite some time, with them relying on you and the b.solutions team for building the complex integrations between their software. Was this project something you were pushing for as well? Could you see the writing on the wall of, we need to make some changes here?
Yeah, so we've been working with Gary and Leader since 21. I was looking at the history of projects we've worked on together, and I think we've progressively built a trusted relationship through exchanges, regular exchanges. Yeah, we started back in 21 working on a supplier stock sync app, which was obviously then in the context of the Visualsoft Brightpearl integration, but for obviously inventory syncing. Then, in 23, we implemented, the PeopleVox and OptimoRoute integrations, obviously the WMS, integration, and OptimoRoute as a delivery schedule optimization, platform. In 24, we started discussing about Shopify. Actually, that was about forward allocation, and actually we could potentially push future inventory to Shopify and expose that future inventory, and actually put in place a pre-ordering function. And as the choice of Shopify as an e-commerce platform was confirmed, obviously with Visualsoft, then we introduced our Shopify Advanced integration, especially for the deep integration we have on the B2B side with the B2B commerce module, and obviously that the implementation of that Shopify Advanced integration has been really interesting, and we worked on very specific requirements for Gary and the team.
Excellent, thank you, Anthony. And last but definitely not least, it's time we heard from Beth, who was the newbie entering this big project for the first time with Leader Online, and as well as helping Leader with their massive warehouse migration project, you've done this with a lot of other brands. Do the pain points that Gary and the others have been talking about, are they the sort of things you see leading to people deciding to make these big warehouse migrations, or are there other things that commonly crop up?
I think, yeah, these are quite common problems. The way Tim described with the e-commerce platform, that there comes a point where you realise that lots of the things you would like to do it won't support. Exactly the same thing happens in operations and warehousing, where either the warehouse management system that you're using, or the space you're operating in, or the third party you're using, or the processes you have, they just reach a point where they can no longer support what you want to do. What you had as a business that maybe turns over 2 million in one market, in one channel, is not the right solution for a business that turns over 8 million in 3 channels and 4 markets. And it's exactly the kind of challenge we see. I think there are some very specific challenges with operations that you don't see in tech, but they all amount to the same thing. What we see happening in businesses, and most of our clients are businesses that are growing really quickly, what tends to happen is that the business evolves, but the tech stack and the operation probably doesn't. And so there reaches a point where you've got to have a revolution rather than evolution in order for those things to catch up. And I think that's exactly what's happened with Leader exemplifies that. That everything moves along and you keep making tweaks and you try to make it work. But ultimately, there comes a point where you've got to say, no, this actually won't support us anymore and is actually now a barrier to growth.
Yes, it's like our job as a business isn't to find a workaround for everything. Sometimes our job as a business is to actually fix it rather than build 1,000,001 workarounds. Gary, let's talk about how you actually managed to deliver all of this now. Once you decided that these multiple projects, big projects, needed to be done together and fast, how did you set about beginning it all in a way that would not necessarily guarantee success, although maybe I should say guarantee success, but would set you up for as successful a project as you could? How did you begin that process?
Well, I think if I look back, it was very daunting at the time. It's a big thing to want to do, not only just re-platform, kind of look at your whole operation and everything like alongside that as well. So a key thing was having good partners first and foremost. So well done to everyone else on the call, and thank you for making our lives easier. But no, I think just keeping the teams in the loop internally and working closely with each department to so people come along on the journey with us. There's lots of change. People not always happy with change, and sometimes you kind of got to bring people along with you. But I think we worked well at doing that, and we had lots of good people involved. It's difficult running a business alongside kind of doing these type of transformational projects. We've got to keep the lights on, we've got to keep things running, and we are a super fast growing business, so it was difficult. But I think the right team involved and the right partners was the main thing, and that was the key thing for us, choosing the right people to people who know our business. Working with Anthony, working with him, kind of exemplifies that. It was a open and shut. We could go to them and speak to them about what we want to do. They understand our business, our processes, and kind of don't have to do that discovery every time, which kind of slows things down. We are agile, so that was really key for me, I think, and it definitely helped.
Yeah, the right people on the team, clearly key. And the fact you're all willing to get on a webinar at the end of the project says, how well it's gone and how well you all function together. Were there any particular tools you used that were particularly useful on the comms side of it all? Were you using spreadsheets? Were you using project management tools? Were you using the tools of the individual suppliers? How did you keep on top of everything?
Yeah, I mean, with the size of our business, and the fact that we've gone quite fast, it was quite segmented in ways. There's always a lot of manual Google Sheets that we're working with for a Google business, so kind of very basic in some ways, but actually we did have project management tools like Asana that kind of some teams work with, and it's about developing that as well. I think as we go into new projects and we continue to up our resource and teams, kind of there's lots of tools out there that make things much easier to manage, and as a project it's something that helped us. But I think we kind of need to, we continue to grow, so we need to continue to scale that and ensure that everyone follows us along the same path. But we're all quite modern businesses. Everyone kind of is in the same ecosystem now, and I think it was not like someone came out of nowhere to kind of give us a bit of software that we didn't know how to use or work with. We were quite straightforward with it.
Excellent. So let's open this up then to Beth, Tim, and Anthony. Often brands will shy away from a project of this scale of doing everything at once within the tech stack and make kind of like phase changes over 6, 12, 18 months or so, especially when it's happening so close to peak. You know, this was a Q2, Q3, Q4 project. And sometimes as the supplier side person, the role is to kind of like push back and go, are you sure you want to do this? You know, was that something you thought was necessary in this case? And obviously, you know, if any of you did push back, you didn't succeed. I guess what I'm really trying to say is, you know, how do you go about helping a client who's taking a project this complex and with this complex timing as well? How do you help them set themselves up for success? There you go, very long question with hopefully some very good answers.
Yeah, I don't mind taking this first as well. So I think from our logic, it was very much a case of this had been spoken about, and Gary will correct me if I'm wrong, over the course of like 12 months, 18 months, this sort of thing. It's not something where we'd gone, do you know what, next week you should move to Shopify. It was very much a thought out process, understanding what we need to replicate from the Visualsoft system and what partners we needed to bring along. Like, as everyone's mentioned, the guys on the call, it all works beautifully for leaders. But then it was a case of also phasing in what additions we can do. And to your point, Chloe, from a tech stack perspective, sorry, that's trickier to say than you'd think. You look at some of the pieces that leaders have taken with them, and they're integral to business. I would say there's other pieces that may come as a phase 2, phase 3 down the line when, as you say, Gary and his team have fully understood what's possible with Shopify and how we can build on it. So I think he's done the hard yards now, and we've all done the hard yards now. But the easy stuff and the fun stuff will come phase 2, phase 3.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. You know, I think for me a key factor of success is, you know, the amount of work you put upfront in the design work. You know, with the right level of due diligence, you know, the right level of documentation of the, you know, to be state. Obviously, requirements prioritization is really important. You know, you can't tackle everything. You know, the 100% of your, you know, functional features, you know, might not be there, you know, from the beginning, but as long as you've delivered the 80% important, you know, that's enough, and then you can, you know, continue and complete the delivery. And, you know, the delivery planning in the detail and the scheduling, you know, so that you can define, you know, quite precisely the different stages and which are going to take you to the end state. So that preparation, that planning is really important, and you know, that's a key factor of success.
Yeah, I think to echo what Tim and Anthony have said, whilst the go live dates were all quite close together, and it looks like it was just this big bang that happened, that probably belies what was really happening beneath the surface, which is that there was at least a year of work before that was what I would call foundational work. So, for instance, I was involved in a lot of projects in the warehouse that got us optimizing the use of the WMS system, that completely revolutionized the way we worked in the warehouse and completely revolutionized the way we made decisions in supply chain to support operations, that happened long before some of these implementations happened. And there was still sequencing. So whilst it looks like everything just happened at once, there was very careful planning and sequencing. And I think that's the beauty that external experts can bring to take the emotion out of it and to help to sequence in a logical, pragmatic way, rather than let's do this because it's really exciting and it's all shiny. A lot of the work we did before wasn't exciting or shiny. It was brilliant basics. It was right first time. It was, how do we make our ops work? How do we buy the right things? How do we stock the right amount? How do we get the information that's on our website to be correct? It's all those things that sort of give you the backdrop so that when you do press the button, your risk is mitigated and your launch is protected. So the kind of to the onlooker, it looks like everything happened at once, but actually in reality there was quite a complex set of cogs behind the scenes building this all gradually over time. It's just that the green lights all went on at a very similar time.
Yeah, just as well, just to echo kind of what the guys have said, it was a bit of an open and honest conversation. It was a bit of an open and honest conversation between ourselves and Visualsoft, kind of when we think about the website launch and things like that, because there was conversations about, do we do it pre-peak, do we do it post-peak, and what would be the safest option. And Visualsoft weren't pushing us for a launch date. They wanted us to do it when we were happy to do that. And we actually delayed it a few times, to be fair, to get things right and get things that we try not to be perfectionists, but get things as nice as they could be for launch. And I think we picked the right time. We wanted to realize the benefits of Shopify and get through that through our busiest time of the year. And we ended the year spectacularly, which was good. So I think we made the right decision. Like Beth said, it wasn't an overnight decision. It was something that kind of was worked on for many months beforehand. Back into 2024, we'd initially spoke.
It's so much good stuff came out of those answers there. I think I could unpick what you all just said, I think, for the rest of the session, but I won't. But I think for me, a couple of the really key things that you all mentioned were, one, the phasing and the sequencing of the project. Whilst it feels like a big bang at the end, there's actually steps that have happened. And Tim, as you were talking, actually all of you were talking about, there are things that will come later. This wasn't a once and done. This was part of a phase project, a big part of an ongoing phase project. But as Beth was saying, there were things we could fix in the meantime, particularly like Beth, what you were saying around, you were getting in the behavior changes and the ops process changes, which were, don't require a massive tech stack change, so that people would be more ready for the new stuff when it came in. I thought that was really good. And then, Gary, I really appreciate your honesty in saying we changed the go live date a couple of times because it wasn't quite ready. And I think sometimes brands get so hung up on the 1st of April, or why do I pick the 1st of April, April Fool's Day anyway? We'll roll with it. They go like, we're going to do the 1st of April, and everyone has to work 24 hours a day to hit it, when actually the bright decision can be to actually let's go for the 3rd, and we'll all be sane when we get there. And before I go off on one about that, before we move on to the impact of all this and what's happening next, are there any last tips any of you would like to give for anyone who's embarking on this project, or anything on the supplier side that you wish clients knew before they embarked on this, shall we say? I'm happy for any of you to jump in on this.
I think one of the things I would like to pick up is the prep work you need to do. I think it's really easy to jump to solutions mode and think, hey, we've got a problem, that piece of tech will solve it. Whereas all you might be doing is putting a sticking plaster over the problem. In my experience, tech is usually part of the solution. It's rarely the total solution. Usually people and process need some work as well. And if you try to just do the tech, generally you'll fall over. So I think doing that due diligence, working carefully through what your process is, how it's working, where it's falling down, being really clear about what the requirements of any tech are, so that when you're going to look, you're really clear about what you need that tech to do. Gary, you and I did some work more recently on a completely different piece of tech, but we spent such a long time really understanding what we needed. And I'm really glad we did, because it stopped some pretty big banana skins. And I think it's really tempting to jump to, oh, look, there's a shiny piece of tech, I'll take that and that will solve my problems. Whereas in reality, you've probably got a very boring master data project you need to do first, because your master data needs to be right or the tech will fall over. You've probably got some work to do on process. It's very easy to say, hey, I need a returns platform, but actually the problem is your returns rates are way too high and you probably need some better descriptions on your website. I think fixing some of the foundational stuff, some of the foundational things that don't necessarily make a big sexy project, is where a lot of brands fall over. And doing that due diligence first, the kind of measure twice, cut once approach, is what I would love for brands to do.
Yeah, I think to step in there, sorry, I was just going to say that echo what you said, Beth. Like, looking back at what we did well and what we would do better next time, I think getting the right people involved from the start, like use your teams. That you've got really good wealth of knowledge across your own businesses for people that are kind of thinking of a big project to do. and they're the ones that do it and they know it. So trusting their judgment and understanding what the problems are. Like I went into the Shopify project. I knew what I wanted to do, and it's a big shiny project, like you say. It's exciting. I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so I wanted to do it straight away. But you ask people, you get people involved, you get their advice, and there's problems that you can think of that you won't think of that other people will, and it kind of having that right project team around it and getting the right people involved is 100% key. And it helps you plan for kind of exceptions and edge cases or things where your project might get a bit messy. And so yeah, that's my biggest number one piece of advice: get the right people as early as possible as well.
I think Beth mentioned data cleansing. Obviously, often that's an opportunity to do the data cleansing exercise, which is not the exciting bit, but that's that will help a lot, with the implementation, the launch. Again, to insist on the fact that actually the detailed planning, that might actually take a few days or weeks to actually to do, but that will save a lot of time later in the project and save a lot of money. And one aspect we see on replatforming projects, not this one definitely, but with other clients, sometimes people think about scalability, and they launch a new platform, they've put a lot of effort in actually replatforming, but without thinking about scalability and making sure actually they will be able to cope with unexpected volumes, because they can be really successful really quickly, and actually they can face actually another replatforming project in 6 months' time, right? And obviously that costs a lot of money. So people should not forget scalability.
Okay, so let's move on to the impact and the success of this project. Gary, you've been kind of like finished this part of the longer project. We've been talking about the big part not that long ago. So what's been the biggest area where you've seen improvement so far, or have there been any surprise wins?
Yeah, I think as a growing business, we want to kind of automate a lot of our processes. There has been manual intervention across the whole order process from and various different touch points. Moving to Shopify and increasing some of our connectors is kind of worked with automating some of that. And there's still ways to go, and there's the ways that we kind of want to evolve. But that's the whole point of the project. From the outset, it's not migrate and stay the same. It's migrate and grow. You want to enhance what you're doing. So yeah, definitely less manual work already. So we're already making inroads in that, and Beth's been catalyst in that within the ops as well, kind of helping us with that. But I feel like we're in a more of a stable platform now. It just feels like we've got stability, and that to me is a very big win. I feel like we can grow, we can continue growing, but we've got a stable base now that we can just trust and rely. Which to me it helps me sleep at night.
I think sleep is definitely a good win from a big tech project. But you're completely right. That confidence in your tech stack and that mindset that that you've got everything in place ready to grow. You're not worried about this or that or the other going wrong. It's going to be huge for you this year. So I, for one, will be watching to see what you guys get up to this year. Anthony, Beth, Tim, and we'll come to Tim first on this one. From your vantage point, any particular wins you'd like to flag from the project?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting way that I'm going to look at this as well, because you consider that Leader Online had been with Visualsoft since like 2008 or something like that, operating 2 different e-com sites, completely separate, but probably running out the same warehouse, I'm assuming, and all the back end was the same. The interesting part for me is conducting the move that we've already spoken about and merging 2 sites into one, which can't be understated as a technical project. And honestly, when I first heard about this project, I was going, are we sure? Like, is this real? But it's something that, as I say, it's pivotal for Leader's growth. And I think to your points that you've all raised across the entirety of this webinar, is that'll be the thing that really kicks Gary's team into next gear, is being able to control all that from one panel, have one area to stock all this from, have one area to run it all from. And I think from a Visualsoft perspective, it was a really big sort of win to turn around and go, we've delivered this project that's delivering results for Leader. And to be honest with you, it's highly complex. It's a nice way to announce yourself to the market.
Yeah, so we delivered a number of key features for Leader. First of all, related to the Shopify forward allocation aspects. Obviously, a key aspect really important for Leader is the management of long-term pre-orders, and that's pre-orders with bundles and non-bundle products. Okay, with advanced bundle calculation logic. Related to Shopify, advanced, obviously, we've got flexible, field mapping, which is really important. So the transfer of custom delivery dates, from Shopify to Brightpearl, the transfer of order meta fields and notes from Shopify to Brightpearl, especially for optimal route, was key. And also, the product, synchronization, product data synchronization aspects, from Brightpearl, to Shopify, that was key. Finally, the B2B, catalog pricing, was an important, aspect. Obviously, with the pricing being synchronized automatically from Brightpearl price list to Shopify. So that these are the key aspects we worked on. Yeah.
I think for me, one of the key things has been the service benefits and what that's opened up to Leader. So we've done lots of work, both directly in the warehouse, across systems, but also more broadly across the supply chain, looking at the products we stock, how and when we order them, how much of them we order. And one of the not a happy accident, because of course you always plan for a service improvement, but one of the things that's been great is our confidence in our own service. So there was a particular market that was closed to Leader that is now open and a very significant part of their growth plan because of the work that we've done, which just shows that if you get the basics right, if you get things right first time, and if you plan to succeed, or indeed plan at all, then actually the things you're looking for most will help you. It will help you to get there. I think sometimes we try to plan to do something. There's a market we want to enter, or there's something we want to get to, and just attacking that directly won't actually work. What you've got to do is go back and put the basics in place. And for me, it's wonderful to see. I remember my very first conversation with Mark Leader, which was around his desire to enter a particular market that was completely closed to him. That's now a significant part of Leader's business and a significant part of their growth plans. So for me, it's fabulous that desire that was expressed at the beginning, we haven't directly attacked that particular market. What we've done is put ourselves in a really good position to be able to enter that market, and it's worked. So for me, that's one of the benefits. And the other one is the people. The way we work is not a consultant coming in and doing everything. We work with teams. We are the experts, but we are not the experts in every business. And we, as Gary said, getting the right people involved early on. And for me, what's fabulous is to see people who had no idea about the system or about process in the beginning, who are now experts in that. And not all the change is coming from Gary or coming from me. It's coming from them, because they know the system or the processes or ways of working can be changed so that we can do things better. And that's where real growth and real improvement comes, because if everything's got to come from a consultant or from a member of the senior leadership team, then that's not growth. Whereas when you've got it coming bottom up, that is fabulous. So to see that now and to see the team empowered is just amazing for me.
Love those wins. Thank you all for sharing those. I mean, if the audience weren't inspired to get on with their projects, they certainly are now to hearing all those wins. Okay, let's take a few minutes to look to the future. So well, I think if we go to Gary first, but then the rest of you are welcome to join in on the answer as well. But you've got now, as you said, an amazing platform for growth. What's got you excited for what might be coming up for Leader in 2026 and maybe even beyond?
Yeah, so we've got lots in the pipeline. We are an ever-growing business with kind of big goals. So in order to reach our goals, we're going to have to enhance what we do. We're looking at new product ranges, which is quite exciting for our customers, kind of like new avenues that we've not been down before, and that will really help to kind of grow from the product side of things. But looking at the platform itself, kind of like there is so much technology out there that we can drop into and test and try. And it's not a we have to have a 6-month project to test and try something. Sometimes we can install an app and try it and it works. It doesn't work and we try something else. So we've got lots of scalability there. And that's really exciting to me. Probably worth touching on that we also have a B2B business as well, which we migrated to Shopify with Visualsoft. So we did actually 2 websites at once, which probably makes the project even more complex. But it was a really good thing to do, and we've got a stable B2B platform now, which our regular sticky customers who are buying products from us regularly are super excited about. They log in, they can place orders themselves. It's gone from a very manual driven process to a automated process, and they have the control themselves to basically do what they need to do. So that's quite exciting as well. And I think that's probably got the biggest area of growth for us. So I think there's massive scalability we can do there.
Well, as I said earlier, I will certainly be watching Leader to see what you get up to for the rest of the year, Gary. I think you are massively set up for success. What I'd like to know before we say goodbye to everyone, though, is what's the one piece of advice each of you would give to the merchants watching this, the merchants watching the replay of this, who are looking to modernize their tech stacks like Leader Online have got, who want that confidence in their systems that enables them to open up new markets, that enables them to take those big leaps, that enables them to actually just believe in all their plans. And we could do all of this because we've now got the foundations we need. What would be your one piece of advice? And I'd like to go to Beth first, then Tim, then Anthony, then Gary can be the last to answer. So Beth.
My advice is really simple, and that's understand the problem first, which echoes back to what I said earlier. Make sure you understand what you really want. When we work with clients, they approach us generally in one of 2 ways. Either they have a very specific problem that they want us to solve, or they're not sure what the problem is, but they know there's a problem because they're not growing or their operations are struggling. Either way, we would come and do either a maturity assessment or an operational assessment, something that actually takes a pragmatic look at all the things that are going on so that you understand the problem. You can do that yourself, you can do it with a consultant, but either way, understanding the problem first rather than jumping to the solution would be my piece of advice.
And to be honest with you, I feel like I'm going to echo Beth on the back of that. We see so many brands who make the leap to re-platform, and the first thought is what's shiny, what's new, what can I install, and how can I basically add things to my site? But then how are you ever going to know the true impact of one particular thing being added to the site? It's very much giving kid in candy store vibe. What we need to do is slow that down, analyse, test and understand. And I think that's one of the things, to be fair, that Gary and the Leader team have delivered quite well.
So, obviously one big challenge is, the multiplicity of solutions, of integration technologies, that's constantly moving pictures, there's new channels, opportunities. And so the ability to actually quickly engage and disengage if necessary, that's key. See that requires a lot of resources, a lot of different skills to be able to manage that moving picture and make the right decision. So I guess my advice is to actually select the right partner. We see during that discussions, the importance of having the right partners to actually accompany you, and see that's my piece of advice. Take the time to actually select the right partners, to help you, making the right decisions and evolve your solution architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think my advice would be brave. Don't put off a problem that you think you've got now and for another day. Make that jump. You're only going to scale if you actually are brave and evolve your tech stack. You can use all of the feedback from your teams internally. They will tell you your problems. They will tell you what you need to do and that sort of scalability that you need. But you've got to be brave and actually want to do it. I think that I'm just so glad that we did that. And it's put us on a really good stead. That being said, we did a huge amount of due diligence. Not going to say we jumped into it. We didn't, but we were brave and thought that from the outset we discovered what our problems were. We knew we wanted to do it, and we did it, and we picked the right partners for that.
Fantastic advice there. Thank you so much to our panelists, Gary, Anthony, Beth and Tim, for being here and sharing so much about this project. I'm hoping all of you out there watching, we have inspired you to, as Gary said, be brave, get the right people on board for your project, do your due diligence, and as Beth said, hunt out those problems before you start looking for the bright, shiny solutions. Please go problems first. It will save you so much time and effort. And huge thanks to Brightpearl and Inventory Planner by Sage for putting this series together. Thank you all for joining us today. The whole point of the Commerce Conversations series is to help you. So before you log off, please make sure that you've taken advantage of the things on the right-hand panel of your screen. In the docs area, you will find the b.solutions full integration timeline showing the breadth of the integrations and apps they built for Leader Online. So yes, that's directly relevant to what we've been talking about today. Also directly relevant to that is Impact Evolve's one-page overview on how they're supporting Leader Online's growth journey. And you'll find a link to, if you, like me, want to be keeping an eye on what Gary and his team are up to, you will find a link to the Leader Online website. There's also a link to the Commerce Conversations page where you can replay our past sessions and find out about what's coming up next, and to the Brightpearl by Sage product brochure. And if you want to have a chat with one of the consultants about how Brightpearl by Sage and Inventory Planner by Sage can help you scale your tech stack improvements, click on the Get My Demo button on the top right of the screen. Oh, just a few more things to tell you all, but trust me, they're worth listening to. You will shortly receive the post-event email with more resources to help you get your house in order for a better 2026, and with details of how to catch this session again on demand. So yes, if you've been watching this thinking, Michael in accounts needs to see this, or Katie in marketing needs to see this, then this is your opportunity to share that replay with them and get this conversation of big changes, big brave changes in your business going of the rest of the team. And we look forward to seeing you in the next session of the Commerce Conversations from Brightpearl and Inventory Planner by Sage. So I will see you there, and thank you for watching.